It was supposed to be an exciting day for 7-year-old Kyron Horman. On June 4, 2010, he proudly posed in front of his science fair project at Skyline Elementary in Portland, Oregon. But just hours later, Kyron would vanish without a trace, and over a decade later, there are still no answers. This is the case of Kyron Horman, a boy who walked into school and was never seen again. Kyron Richard Horman was born on September 9, 2002 in Portland, Oregon. He was known for his love of science, animals, and his bright, curious nature. He was just 7 years old when his name became national news. He lived primarily with his father Kane and his stepmother Terry. His biological mother, Desiree Young, remained deeply involved in his life despite the custody arrangement, which had changed when she fell ill during Kyron's infancy. By all accounts, Kyron was a happy, loved child until everything changed. Friday, June 4th, 2010 started out like any other. It was Science Fair Day at Skyline Elementary, and Kyron couldn't wait to show off his project, a display on the red-eyed tree frog. Kyron arrived at school around 8 a.m. with his stepmother Terry. She took a photo of him at his exhibit, then she says she saw him walking down the hallway toward his classroom around 8:45 a.m. But that's where things start to unravel, because Kyron never made it to class. His homeroom teacher marked him absent, but no one noticed, not at first. It wasn't until 3:30 p.m., when Kane and Terry arrived to pick him up, that anyone realized something was wrong. School staff told the Hormans that Kyron had been absent all day. Terry insisted she saw him walk into the school, but Kyron was gone. Within hours, a massive search effort began. Local, state, and federal authorities joined the hunt. It would become the largest search in Oregon's history. Volunteers combed miles of rugged terrain around the school. Flyers went up. Kyron's face was everywhere. But despite the scale of the operation, no trace of him was ever found. One major obstacle authorities faced was that Skyline Elementary had no security cameras. There was no footage showing whether Kyron ever left the school or with whom. There were no credible eyewitnesses, no signs of struggle. It was as if he vanished into thin air. As the days passed and search efforts turned up nothing, investigators began to look more closely at the people closest to Kyron, and one person in particular stood out: his stepmother, Terry Horman. At first, Terry was seen as just another devastated parent. She was the last known person to see Kyron that morning. But over time, investigators noticed problems with her story. Terry said she dropped Kyron off at 8:45 a.m. and then went about her errands, shopping at Fred Meyer, running to the gym. But when police reviewed phone records and surveillance footage, things didn't quite add up. Her whereabouts between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m., the most critical hours, were unclear. When asked if she knew what happened to Kyron, Terry reportedly failed 2 separate polygraph tests. While polygraphs aren't admissible in court, they're often used by investigators to guide the direction of a case. And in Terry's case, they raised serious concerns. Then came the bombshell. A man named Rudy Sanchez, a landscaper who had worked for the Hormans, told police that Terry had tried to hire him to kill her husband, Kane Horman. According to him, she offered money and allegedly brought it up multiple times. Investigators believed the threat was serious enough that Kane was warned immediately. He took their baby daughter and left the house, filing for divorce and a restraining order just weeks after Kyron vanished. Terry's behavior after Kyron's disappearance also raised eyebrows. Family members described her as emotionally detached. She allegedly giggled during one of her polygraph tests, and after Kane left, she stopped cooperating with police altogether. Despite the growing suspicion, Terry has never been arrested or charged in connection to Kyron's disappearance, and to this day, she denies any involvement. In 2012, Kyron's biological mother, Desiree, filed a civil lawsuit against Terry, accusing her of being directly responsible for Kyron's disappearance. During a deposition, Terry invoked the Fifth Amendment more than 90 times. The lawsuit was later dropped due to lack of evidence. So what really happened to Kyron Horman? The case has inspired dozens of theories, some logical, others disturbing. The dominant theory is that Terry Horman was involved in Kyron's disappearance. Some believe she may have handed him off to someone or harmed him herself, but without physical evidence, it's just speculation. Another possibility is that Kyron was taken by a stranger. Could someone have entered the school unnoticed? There was a lot of foot traffic due to the science fair, and security was lax, but again, no witnesses and no suspects. Others have speculated Kyron may have wandered out of the school on his own. But why? And if he did, why did the massive search effort turn up nothing? Years of investigations, searches, and legal action have brought us no clear answers, just a series of what-ifs. Kyron Horman has now been missing for over 15 years. He would be 22 years old today. His case remains open. The reward for information is over $50,000, but despite national attention, no solid leads have emerged. Kyron's family hasn't given up hope. They continue to raise awareness, hold vigils, and push for justice. How does a child go missing in broad daylight in a school full of people with no one seeing a thing? What really happened to Kyron Horman that morning? Is someone still hiding the truth, or was this a perfect crime that slipped past everyone? What do you think happened that day? Let me know your theories in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more in-depth true crime stories like this one. Until next time, stay aware and stay safe.